Let's get right into it. Number 10. Oops equals dopamine. Picture this, you spill coffee all over your shirt right before a meeting. Embarrassing? Yes. But inside your skull, your brain is basically handing out participation trophies like, "Congrats, champ. You ruined your clothes, but at least you learned something." That's because mistakes trigger dopamine, the same chemical that shows up when you eat chocolate, gamble, or stalk your ex's Instagram at 2 a.m. The science-why explanation is that your brain has a built-in correction system called error-related negativity, which sounds like the worst emo band name ever. When you mess up, your brain fires off signals like a smoke alarm. Yo, we expected one thing and you gave us the opposite. Fix it. Instead of punishing you endlessly, your brain sneakily rewards the failure, because rewarding mistakes makes you more likely to not repeat them. It's evolutionary bribery. Back in caveman times, if you stuck your hand in a beehive and got stung, your brain was like, note to self, don't poke nature's buzzing murder pillow. And instead of sulking forever, dopamine was like, cool lesson. Now you're smarter than the idiot who just discovered bees hurt. Mistakes, in other words, are your brain's boot camp. You suffer a little pain, but you get promoted for surviving. So yeah, your brain doesn't care if you embarrassed yourself in front of your boss, or microwaved a fork, or called your teacher mom. As long as you don't do it twice, your neurons are celebrating with a mini fireworks show. Basically, every mistake is your nervous system running a chaotic self-improvement seminar, and you're both the awkward student and the motivational speaker. Number 9. The wrong right trick. Have you ever guessed on a test, got it wrong, but somehow remembered the correct answer forever after? Like, you'll forget your anniversary date in 2 seconds, but you'll remember that the capital of Australia is Canberra because you once confidently shouted Sydney and got roasted in front of the whole class. That's your brain's way of tagging mistakes like a permanent tattoo. Here's how it works. When you answer wrong, your brain flags it with a little error tag. Then, when you get corrected, the brain is like, oh, this is the truth, and burns it into long-term memory. It's called the hypercorrection effect. Sounds fancy, but it basically means being confidently dumb is the fastest way to learn. Teachers know this. That's why they let you struggle with math problems before spoon-feeding the answer. If you just memorize the answer, it evaporates like Snapchat messages. But if you crash and burn first, the correction sticks. It's like making a pothole in your brain's road, and then paving it with neon bricks that scream, look here. That's also why trivia nights are brutal. You don't remember the boring questions you got right. You remember the ones you butchered while yelling confidently in front of strangers. Failure with flair is unforgettable. So in a weird way, your brain loves humiliating you. Every time you say the wrong thing, it's secretly making you a little smarter. You're basically a human Wikipedia, powered by regret. Number 8. Painful lessons stick. Think about touching a hot stove. Once is enough. You don't need a PowerPoint presentation to remember that fire equals ouch. That's because your brain wires painful mistakes directly into the survival database. Neuroscientists call this aversive learning, which is just a polite way of saying, congratulations, your suffering has been uploaded into permanent storage. The crazy part is that the brain prefers mistakes that hurt a little. Like spill some soup on your hand? Instantly remembered. Drop your phone in the toilet? Never again. Accidentally send a text about your boss to your boss? You'll triple-check every group chat until the day you die. The brain is basically a drama queen. It craves mistakes with emotional impact because bland experiences don't get remembered. Nobody remembers the safe, boring Tuesday when everything went fine. But one faceplant in public? Engraved forever in your hippocampus like a bad tattoo. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. Early humans who ignored painful lessons, like, don't eat the shiny berries that made your cousin puke, didn't last long. But the ones who cringed hard enough to remember, they survived. Mistakes with consequences are how your DNA made it here. So yes, you can thank your ancestors for the fact that you still replay that cringy thing you said in 7th grade. Your brain is just trying to keep you alive, even if it means making you relive the world's most awkward moments every night before bed. Number 7. Trial and error superpower. Imagine being dropped into a video game you've never played before. You don't know the controls, you don't know the map, and suddenly a giant pixelated monster eats your face. Game over. Do you rage quit? Probably. But your brain, it's already updating its software. Next round, you dodge earlier, swing faster, and suddenly you're not face meat anymore. This is trial and error learning. Your brain is addicted to it because it's the fastest way to figure out new environments. You're not supposed to be good at something the first time. If humans were born with all the right answers, none of us would have ever invented, well, anything. Fire, wheels, Wi-Fi, all born from 1,000 flaming failures. What's sneaky is that your brain actually rewards the error part. Each failure feeds your prediction system. When you mess up, your brain recalibrates. Okay, not that button, not that path, not that berry. And each little mistake earns you micro-upgrades, like your brain is patching bugs in a video game character. The alternative, never trying, is way worse. If you avoid mistakes altogether, your brain just sits there like a couch potato. No errors, no updates. Which is why babies, who are basically tiny, screaming scientists, learn so fast. They throw spoons on the floor 400 times just to see what happens, and every mistake is logged. You may think the kid is being annoying. The kid's brain is writing an encyclopedia of stuff that doesn't work. So if you feel dumb for messing up, congrats, you're literally doing the thing your brain evolved to do. Trial and error isn't failure. It's how you got past level 1 of life without rage quitting the species. Number 6. Mistakes make you creative. Here's a fun paradox. Some of the greatest human inventions started as screw-ups. Penicillin? Accidentally left moldy petri dishes lying around. Microwave oven? A scientist noticed a chocolate bar melted in his pocket next to a radar machine. Potato chips? Invented when a cook got petty and sliced potatoes too thin just to annoy a customer. Your brain loves mistakes because they shake up the rules. When everything works the way you expect, your brain goes on autopilot. But when something goes wrong, it's like a glitch in the matrix. You suddenly see a new path. That's creativity. Neuroscientists call it divergent thinking. Translation: your brain is like, hey, if Plan A exploded in flames, what if we invent Plan Z? Mistakes force your brain to connect random dots, and those weird connections are where new ideas come from. That's why brainstorming sessions often look like chaos. Everyone's throwing out dumb, wrong, bad ideas until one of those sparks something genius. Even artists and musicians know this. Ever hear of a happy accident? That's Bob Ross speak for, I messed up my painting, but now it looks like a majestic mountain instead of a blob. Mistakes are fuel for creativity, not interruptions. Basically, when you screw up, your brain is MacGyvering reality. It hands you duct tape, paper clips, and regret, and then somehow you invent jazz. Number 5. Confidence. From failing. Asterisk asterisk. This one sounds insane, but stick with me. Failing a lot can actually make you more confident. Weird, right? You'd think messing up would crush your soul. But the brain has this twisted way of rewarding resilience. It's called self-efficacy, which is psychologists speak for, I believe I can figure stuff out. Every time you fail and survive, your brain builds proof. Hey, that didn't kill me. I can handle this. Over time, those little failures add up to a pretty solid internal hype man. Think about learning to ride a bike. Nobody gets it first try. You wobble, crash, eat pavement, cry, get back on, repeat. But each fall secretly gives you confidence, because your brain scoreboard says, fell down, still alive. Fell again, still alive. Wait, I rode for 10 seconds before falling. Progress. Confidence isn't born from never failing. It's born from failing so much that your brain knows failure isn't fatal. This also explains why people who never push themselves, the play it safe forever crowd, tend to freak out the moment something goes wrong. Their brains never collected failure points, so when the first real problem hits, they panic. Meanwhile, the falling on your face veterans are just like, I've been here before. I'll figure it out. So yeah, making mistakes doesn't just make you smarter. It literally trains your brain to trust itself. Basically, every time you fail, you're low-key building a suit of psychological armor. Number 4. The social bond glitch. Nothing brings humans closer together than humiliation. Seriously, you trip on the sidewalk in front of strangers, and suddenly you've given them the best icebreaker of the day. Mistakes, weirdly enough, are social glue. Psychologists call it the pratfall effect. Translation: when people mess up, they actually seem more likable. If someone is too perfect, they come off robotic and unrelatable, like a walking LinkedIn profile. But if they drop their coffee, laugh it off, or admit they don't know something, suddenly they're human. Suddenly you want to invite them to your group chat. Your brain rewards you for mistakes in social settings because vulnerability is bonding. Think about stand-up comedians. Their entire job is turning embarrassing failures into laughter. Or reality TV contestants, who gain fans not by being flawless, but by being delightfully awkward disasters. And this isn't just entertainment. Even in workplaces, studies show that leaders who admit mistakes are trusted more. Why? Because nobody believes the flawless act. Your brain is wired to seek out authenticity, and authenticity usually comes wrapped in a cringy little failure. So the next time you say something dumb in a meeting and everyone laughs, your brain's dopamine system isn't punishing you. It's like, congrats, you just became relatable. Friendship unlocked. Basically, you're not a screw-up, you're just evolution's version of a team-building exercise. Number 3. Error equals upgrade. Here's where your brain gets sneaky. When you make a mistake, you don't just learn the lesson. Your brain actually reconfigures itself. Like physically. It's called neuroplasticity, which is basically your brain's ability to bend, twist, and rewire itself like a yoga instructor who's had too much coffee. When you succeed at something, your brain just says, cool, keep doing that. No major changes. But when you fail, your neurons start throwing a remodeling party. Synapses strengthen, connections form, and your mental software gets patched. Failure is the trigger that says, okay, we clearly need an upgrade. Think of it like going to the gym. If you lift weights that are too easy, your muscles don't grow. But if you struggle, sweat, maybe accidentally drop a dumbbell on your toe, that's when the growth kicks in. Mistakes are mental weightlifting, painful, awkward, but literally reshaping your brain. And here's the kicker. Your brain doesn't just adapt to the specific mistake. It generalizes. You learn how to handle uncertainty, adapt to change, and predict better outcomes in the future. It's like your brain is saying, oh, so the world is chaotic and unpredictable? Got it. Let's get stronger. So every time you faceplant in life, remember, your brain is basically doing construction work behind the scenes. You're not failing. You're just downloading the latest upgrade, whether you like it or not. Number 2, your brain loves the chase. Here's a dirty little secret. Your brain doesn't actually like being right. It likes getting better. That's why mistakes are rewarded. The process of almost getting it, messing up, then trying again, that's the real drug. It's called the learning curve, but it might as well be called the frustration roller coaster. At first, you suck. You make mistakes. You yell at the universe. But then you improve. And that tiny improvement lights up your brain like you just hit a jackpot slot machine. Why? Because our reward system evolved for hunting and gathering, not instant Amazon delivery. Back in the day, if you failed 10 hunts before finally spearing a mammoth, your brain was like, oh my God. Yes, success. That high kept you alive. If your brain only rewarded the final win without caring about the failures along the way, you'd quit after hunt number 1. That's why games, sports, and hobbies are addictive. The mistakes are built in. Missing shots in basketball makes the swish satisfying. Dying in video games makes the victory sweeter. Burning your first 5 loaves of bread makes loaf number 6 taste like Michelin star cuisine. The mistakes are literally half the fun. So when you mess up, remember, your brain isn't disappointed. It's practically drooling at the chance to chase the next improvement. Mistakes aren't setbacks. They're the seasoning that makes winning taste good. Number 1. Survival of the good enough. Here's the big reveal. Your brain doesn't actually care about perfection. It only cares that you're good enough not to die. Mistakes are the currency your brain uses to pay for survival lessons. Think about it. Evolution didn't shape humans into flawless supercomputers. It shaped us into trial-and-error machines. Your ancestors weren't perfect hunters, perfect builders, or perfect fire starters. They were the people who messed up constantly, learned just enough, and somehow avoided dying in hilarious ways. The ones who never made mistakes, they never learned. They didn't pass on their DNA. End of story. Your brain is still running that same messy operating system. When you fail, it treats that mistake like data, survival data. Was that berry poisonous? Don't eat it again. Was that cliff too high to jump off? File that under never again. Was texting you up at 3 a.m. a terrible idea? Emotional pain still counts as survival data. And the reward isn't just about dopamine or memory upgrades. The real reward is that every mistake makes you slightly more adaptable, slightly more flexible, slightly more capable of rolling with life's chaos. You're not built to be right all the time. You're built to stumble, learn, laugh, and stumble again. So next time you screw up, whether it's spilling spaghetti on yourself, forgetting your password for the 600th time, or failing spectacularly at karaoke, just remember, your brain is secretly throwing you a party. It's like, congrats, you've officially leveled up in the awkward survival game called life. Because in the end, your brain rewards mistakes not to embarrass you, but to keep you evolving. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.